with update up to speed on happenings on the local scene as well as the international front. This is the page. This is your authoritative update show where we bring you nothing but the best and we get those who matter when it comes to sports development. And today we are doing a review of the 2022 GUSA Cross Country. And remember that on Friday we had the big men in the house. We talked about the GUSA president here and then also the chairman for the technical committee. They threw more light on the event. But the event has taken place and some interesting topics out there for us to talk about, especially the loop, how it looked like, the enthusiasm of athletes, timing for the event and everything. And then GFA president coming to surprise everybody. Footballer coming to watch athletics. I have two able gentlemen who were there and saw it with their own eyes. They've been helping in sports development. These are future journalists. There is a future journalist. They are the next community voice that we have in the house. So to my immediate left, no other person than the gentleman whose name rings a bell. I don't know whether it was his relative who played the ball, but he has the same name. It's Prince Owusu Ansah. He's a sports journalist in the country. Have you played football before?
Oh, yes, I was.
So father played football before?
Yeah, my father was a footballer. I was also a footballer.
So that Prince Owusu Ansah is not your father?
No. I'm related to him somehow.
Okay. There is football in his blood.
Yes.
And then the other guy, this guy, is smooth. Yeah. I have Godfred, Dampte-Larbie in the house. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to join you.
It's also a sports journalist. See, if you go to University of Ghana, you see this gentleman there. So you track them. These young guys track them. Gentlemen, most welcome.
Thank you.
We are not talking about Isaac Dogbe today.
Oh, no.
We are not talking about AJ today, no boxing. We are not even talking about the Black Stars. Neither are we talking about the Black Queens. We are talking about athletics. We're looking at GUSA 2023 Cross Country. UG has done it again in the men's division. Yeah. And UEW and his team are also doing what they do in the ladies one. Let me take your general thoughts on what you saw on the 1st of April at the University of Ghana.
Well, thank you very much, you. I think for quite some time now, University of Ghana has become the center of sports when it comes to university games or university competitions. And this is not basically about them women, but it's about organization and then the use of sophistication methods and then machinery in achieving all this. Now on Saturday, we all saw what happened, how the grounds were prepared, how organizations and everything went in place. It tells you that when it comes to organizing competition, anything sports, University of Ghana has always been second to none. And I can say this on authority, that this is not the first time that they have introduced such machinery and other, accoutrement when it comes to these organizations. So, I think University of Ghana created the atmosphere for the competition itself. You were there yourself, and before the competition even started, the whole atmosphere was charged. You could see jubilation here and there. And basically, how they organized everything added a lot of flavor to the entire competition as a whole. I'm not touching on what happened in terms of performance, but I'm trying to concentrate a little bit on the organization, Dr. Bella Bulubutugu, Henderson Toy, how they managed to make the place look very acceptable and warm for the entire competition. And the cross country, that was the 26th edition. It was a success, based on the way the competition itself was organized.
Great. So, Godfred, your take, generally, how will you describe it?
I think it was a sight to behold, if I should put it, because as you do know, especially given the GUSA Cross Country events, there was a 2-year hiatus because of the COVID-19 and how it hit. And so it only returned just last year in UHAS in Ho. For the very first time, the competition had to take place in Ho. And when it comes to, cross country, sometimes you want to look at the terrain itself. It's ideally done on a dirt terrain. There should be limitation of, the road setting and everything. And what we saw this year was a typical cross-country setting. Okay,
I won't take the wind out of it. So, but viewers, you get a feel of what we're talking about. The highlights will pop up very, very soon. The GUSA men, and then how UCC was able to also do it through Sakat and Ariba for the ladies. Yeah. And so, whilst we do the chit-chatting, you see my director giving me some of the highlights, but you watch it yourself and how the excitement, more than 200 athletes went for the males
Yeah.
event, and for the women, almost 150 or so from at least 16 universities. So you were on it.
Yeah, so I was just talking about the race course itself, its design. And ideally, you want such, terrain. If you look at the race course, there are a lot of places to maneuver, and obviously there are obstacles, as you'd have a typical cross-country race course to be. There's a pool of water, ideally there were grass, patches. There were also some marshy areas as well that, these athletes have to maneuver through. And at the end of the day, once you're able to, go through all that and still keep up with your physiological efficiency. And you get what the teams do. As much as there was individual accolades to be given, there's also team accolades. And that was where the UG, University of Ghana, in the men's category, did all the magic. And then you could also see that in the women's category, that was where UCC was able to do their thing and then win it. So, it was just wonderful, especially observing the strategy that most of these athletes used. For UW, one of the highlights of the event was how they had an athlete who, just 100 meters to the finish line, he tripped and he fell. And then he had some muscle issues. And
He
had some muscle issues. And you know what? If you look at how UW plays in the men's category of the 10-kilometer race, they placed second. And had that particular gentleman been able to finish successfully,
crawl and then
crawl, you saw I had to crawl and everything. It's one of the ugly sides of any meet in athletics.
So viewers, whilst we wait for my director to play me those videos, we're talking about the GUSA Cross Country. And this event has been the main event that ushers in the GUSA activities, and GUSA has positioned itself that it will be the force to really get quality athletes. When we talk about quality athletes, all-round athletes, those who can read and write, those who can understand what is nutrition and understand what is doping, those who understand how to do stuff. So whatever they do, it is scientific based. They understand everything from how you warm up to everything. So they don't just eat banku and then go into the ring and fight and then later tell you that because they want to run, that's why they lost their fight. So very soon my director will play me the video. Either we watch the ladies one, the UCC one, or we watch the men's one. All of them will come into director when it is ready. Please just flow it for us to enjoy what really happened. But let me stay with you. Let's look at this child called William Amponta. What type of heart is this gentleman having? Because he has represented us on the international stage. He went to the Great North Run in London or something. This guy was amazing. Came out of the top 10 finishers or so. He was among them. What type of Ghanaian do we have, William Amponta?
I think William, it's a blessing. To Ghanaian athletics. I particularly paid close attention to William somewhere in 2020 when he came to the University of Ghana for the GUSA 2020 games. Yes, that was pre-COVID. And they had the opportunity to compete on the tartan tracks in the University of Ghana Stadium. And mind you, that guy just blew my mind in the 10,000 meters and then the 5,000 meters as well. And I think for William, it's been about the fact that he has character and then he also has confidence. And not to take away the fact that his preparation, I don't know who has been managing William, but if you look at what he did, what he does anytime he gets onto the tracks or anytime he participates in a cross-country event, he actually upgrades his time. I quite remember in 2020, he was just a minute away from from Olympic qualification time in one of the meets that he ran. I don't know whether it was a national marathon or something like that. And so it just tells you about William. And I think that the experience that William has or he wields is also something that has been one of the driving force.
And so these are some of the highlights. These are the main so all universities, I think 16 universities paraded, and per the rules of the game, you can bring more than 10 runners, but 6 of them will stand the qualification. But look at the loop. How did you see? Do you see it always? We see the cross country being run on the streets, the roads, and stuff like that. But for the first time in many years, we are seeing a well-designed and the loop. I hear it is 2 kilometers.
2 kilometers, yes.
So they had to go 5 times.
Five times. That would equivalent to 10 kilometers.
10 kilometers.
And this gentleman you see,
William Amponsa.
William Amponsa is the one we're talking about.
Yeah. For William, I first saw him on September 3rd, 2019. That I think Ghana Commercial Bank organized a cross country at Independence Square where we had athletes from Kenya, Ethiopia, and other countries participate. With that, he came first. And that was when I challenged myself that this guy is a prospect because, you know, countries with higher altitude, athletes from such area tend to have the capacity to go long distances. But in as much as he was able to beat them to that, that was when I realized that this guy would be a blessing to Ghana. And in 2020, like he said, we were all in community position for the GUSA game, and we all saw his exploits. So to some of us, it is no news seeing him go that far because he started from somewhere, and from his beginnings, things were obvious that he was going to go far. And so to some of us, where he has reached now, it's no news to us. But I always have a question to ask. Which is to all Ghanaians generally. This is not the first time that we are discovering an athlete's office this nature. We have had Benjamin Azamati, Aziz Zakaria, and all sort of. But how does the future hold? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Recently, he went to Birmingham, and then he came back. Now that he's back, what is the Ghana Athletics Association, the GAA, what are they doing about him? It's a big question. But now he's an Olympic prospect. So what do you do from now to maybe the next Olympic Games or to the next?
Maybe they have their plan.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think the Ghana Athletics Association, what they do for an athlete like William is that they take note of meets and then they try to match him to those meets. And so just to make sure that you represent the country, I think that they are striving so hard to do that.
Yeah.
But I think what we need to be concerned more about is how we get to manage these athletes. Look, if you look at what happens in the NCAA, my fear for even Ghanaians, some Ghanaian athletes who are running there is that once you exhaust your, school time there, because usually you go down the ticket of scholarship, you run in, let's say for West Texas A&M, likes of Grace Obuo, who are with West Texas University. When you are done with the 4 years, it's not, automatic that you get 2 extra years because they look at the age and everything. They look at, your potential as an athlete, whether you've reached your peak, or you are going past your peak and everything. And so in the aftermath of that, these athletes need to take care of themselves. And so even those out there, you need a whole plan to be able to manage them. So then I believe that, it's about managing this athlete, making sure that, he reaches his potential, making sure that he maintains it, making sure that there are a lot of meets, and a lot of events that he's
so
able to...
you're talking about the investment, the management aspect, the investment, so who really register him and sponsor him, because it is not a joke going for this international event. It's not a joke. Let's look at the ladies. We saw Sakat Lariba, we saw all the creme de la creme, the long distance runners. But at the end, Sakat managed to beat all of them, although we saw the UG guys coming. In the men, we saw
Ishmael Atta, Bassett Afo,
those guys coming. But the ladies' own we also see small. The ladies' own will watch it small before we take out from the studio. Let me come to you. What do you make of our ladies? It's like always the concentration is on the men, although we are doing some efforts in them. What do you make of the ladies? Sakat has been there every marathon in this country. If Sakat doesn't win, she's in the top 5.
Exactly.
These things, what do you make of the ladies? Are we going to get there like the way the men are getting?
It depends on management. Like my colleague said earlier, if the management of these athletes are done on time, I think we're able to get the best out of them. For Sakat, it's no news. She's a defending champion. And then she has been to a lot of cross countries. And like you said, if she's not first, she's in the first 5. So what do we do as a nation? She's a prospect. You see, what makes Jamaica, United States of America, and other countries more unique as compared to other countries on our part of the world is that when they discover you, they know how to nurture, manage, and ensure that they get the best out of you. And that's one aspect that I think Ghanaians, we are lacking.
Okay, so viewers, we'll just get the highlights of that one, the UCC one. Sakat didn't run as a military officer.
I think UEW, Sakat is from UEW.
UEW. She didn't run as an officer. She was representing the university.
Yes.
Although some of them are officers, they still school, so
Yeah.
they represent there. At a place, she's just numero uno. Discipline is everything.
Yeah.
Would you say it's because of the military training that keeps her on the rise, or it is just that she is gifted, whether military or not, or because she started before even joining?
You know, I had a conversation with Dampte-Larbie, and she was even talking about the fact that if you looked at the Ghana National Cross Country event, she plays fifth. It was because, you know, it was difficult trying to juggle, I mean, training, coming from the training school, being in school, as University of Education, Winneba, and then still making up for these meets and still maintaining your consistency and everything, keeping up with training. It was difficult for her. So even prior to this particular event, many people felt, well, she could be in the first top 3, but she kept telling them that, yeah, you know, I'm going to surprise you. And she came here and she delivered an amazing performance. I mean, her run. And if you look at, I mean, the ranking, the finish list, it was Dampte-Larbie.
Yes.
She finished first, 36 minutes.
Okay, so these are the ladies' version. You saw them. Very, very energetic ladies. And see, those who lost, it wasn't that they weren't prepared. In fact, they met the creme. That's the lady going, the lady in blue and the red.
Yes.
And the other one. They keep going and still fighting, trying to.
Yeah. So that's Naomi Addo right behind
Yes.
Zakat. She's in the golden and then
Yes.
the blue black.
That's
Yeah.
the UGT, right?
Yeah, UGT.
These girls are just amazing. And so this GFA president, we saw him there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was telling you about the women's event. So if you look at Naomi Addo from the University of Ghana. Now in the Ghana National Cross Country event, Naomi finished 8th. And then there was Rosemary Atta. Now in this particular meet, I think she finished somewhere 6th or 7th or so in this particular meet. Now, if you look at Naomi, I think that what the University of Ghana should be proud of about these two ladies is that you compare their times they ran in the UGR 75 GUSA Cross Country meet, and now they seem to have upgraded the time within a span of just 2 weeks. I think a lot of training went into that. So then you have Dampte-Larbie, who came in, then Naomi Addo right behind her. I think that UCC athlete, I mean, the name has just escaped me. Yeah, I think that was Rosina. No, that was and Joanna Alaska Yaba, and then Rosemary Atta came in 4th. So I was saying Rosemary Atta came. Yeah. So Laba of UCC comes in 3rd, and I think that was a brilliant performance by all these athletes because most of them seem to have run like personal best, and it was significant for their schools a lot. And
so you feel that the girls can get there?
I feel that the girls can get there, and I think that guidance for ladies or women when it comes to athletics, you need a certain level of attention, different to the guy, because their motivation alone and the fact that it's not easy to get them to push themselves, because the sports orientation here alone, okay, and sometimes the stereotypes and a lot of things don't actually make them feel like they need to do it, because they keep talking a lot about school, about the future than that.
Okay.
And that is where you need a lot of these experts to come in.
Okay.
Yes, and you need a lot of care.
I spoke with Mr. Tanko, the president of GUSA. One thing that was clear was that they didn't get sponsorship for this one. GUSA didn't get sponsorship for this one. We'll be checking out from the studio. What do you think going forward we can do now for an institution like GUSA? Yes, you get your funding from schools, allowances, people pay sports fees and other things. But corporate Ghana also sitting and waiting. Where can we support? Where can we come in? What do you think GUSA can do in terms of positioning itself to really attract something from corporate Ghana?
It's about rebranding. If a whole University of Ghana as an institution, a single institution can get company to sponsor their 3-day athletics competition, how much more GUSA? That can last for as much as 2 weeks. They need to rebrand themselves and also bring on board a lot of media houses, like they did in 2020. It was televised on your platform.
Yes.
It's a GTV Sports Platform.
Yes.
So corporate institutions will tend to come in when they know that they have the eyes of the world watching them from afar, because that's where they will get their monies from. So if there's nothing of that sort, basically they will stay, a bit aloof out of, trying to join the train of sponsorship or whatever it is. So what I think GUSA needs to do now is that they need to sit as management, think about how to convince these institutions, because they are willing to invest. They are willing to invest their monies, their dollars into these athletes. But how do you convince them to come on board?
Great.
Is what they have to do. So they need to sit down, strategize. And I think the next main GUSA or any cross-country organization will be able to get some of these organizations to come on.
Also, your take on this one. How do we attract sponsorship to this? Because these are the future. You start with this one. Maybe William Amponsa will go again, win a marathon, and then we say that, okay, XYZ company was even involved. Big platform. What do you think they can do?
Yeah, I think that GUSA needs to start documenting a lot of things that they do. Look, I believe that, investment always goes to where there's patronage. Unfortunately, we don't have athletics being highly patronage. We don't have, so much patronage that goes for athletics. And so what we need to do is to try to document a lot of these things. And they need to use the media a lot. Look, there are some media houses. I always talk about the likes of Radio University on campus who are eager to support. But then, the information comes just to you as an invite. And there are a whole lot of other media houses out there. And it's not just with athletics. There are other lesser known sports that you can actually get out there. So GUSA needs to move from relying on the fees that some of these institutions pay. Because one issue that I do know they have from my sources was that they were trying to get fees from, most of these institutions. And once the institutions, are not so forthcoming with the fees, what it means is that the event needs to go on
I
anyway.
also chance on some people complaining, some sportsmasters complaining that some pro vice chancellors refuse to allow the ladies to come and compete.
Exactly.
They prefer that they compete in football and other things, not athletics.
That's what I was talking to you about patronage. Exactly.
For them.
That's what I was talking to you about patronage. So how do you make it more enticing? How do you sell this story? So for example, if there's a GUSA newsletter always after this event, then you get a lot of people reading it. You get a lot of, for example, you have partnerships with graphics. And I think that, in as much as you want corporate Ghana to come in, you also want that media touch, where like you have a lot of, graphic online, yes. And it should be everywhere, okay? Yes, and I think that, yes, some of these things do help.
Okay, so viewers, that's the take of my brothers here. They love sports. These guys, they follow. Yeah, they are not football biased anyway. They like it, although they sometimes follow football and then stuff like that. If I ask them about Lionel Messi and then Cristiano Ronaldo, who is the greatest, they will tell me that Mohamed Polo is the best. So we won't even.
But you please, before you go ahead, I forgot to mention University of UNE.
Yes.
Yeah, UNE placed third in the women's edition. It was unprecedented, so they go in history as the first.
So they are jumping up. But again, what we tend to forget is that KNUST used to be the dominant force. But it seems.
But for them, there's something I don't get. When it comes to athletics at SHS level, the whole Ghana, they are all based in Ashanti region.
But when it comes to UG issues, UG is now taking over. So, let me say a big thank you to Dr. Bello Butilgu and his team, coach, everybody at UG Sports Directorate. I think they are doing a good job. And then also GUSA executives, technical chairman, Mr. Pidugu, Mr. Ibrahim Tanko, and the rest out there. I won't forget about, because the GA came with their equipment. Yes. So every result that was made there has been documented, and I think that kudos to the GA. We'll get more time to delve more into athletics, but this is how we draw the curtains on the page. Thank you very much, Prince and Godfred, for passing through, and also you doing the watching the page. We same time tomorrow. Bye for now.